and we proceed.
Okay. Yeah, Manuel, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Nice. I just wanted to confirm that you are with us. Okay, cool. So without any further waste of time, we are going to begin the course of today. So we have Vikish in our midst, which is from the Lisk team. She will be doing most of the talking today. I'm just here to introduce you to Vikish and then find my way out of this place. So Vikish is a great builder. I know Vikish for a while now. We have studied together and have built complex stuffs together. So it's a great plus to the Lisk team and also a great plus to this session today, because I believe you are going to be learning a whole lot from her. So I would advise everyone just sit attentive while she introduces us to some things we need to know about the Lisk ecosystem, like the Superchain Interoperability and then the rest of them. She'll be doing just most of the talking. So let's just sit attentive as we listen to Vicky. So Vicky, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. And I'm going to be sharing my screen in a bit. But before that, I would just like a few of you guys to introduce yourself. Like to get to know you before I do my own introduction. So you can use the chat, or if you like to talk, depends. Just want to get to know you guys. Anyone want to introduce himself? Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, I think you can use the chat.
Morning, Vikish. My name is Bankat Mananav. A student of the Blockfuse cohort 1, Web3 cohort. Nice to have you here, and we hope to have a nice time to as well, learning Lisk and what Lisk has to offer. Thank you very much.
That's lovely. Okay, Lucky, go ahead.
Good morning, British. My name is Kamshat Loki Iswa, a student of Blockfuse Labs Cohort 1. Hope to hear and learn more from you.
It's nice. It's nice to meet you, Lucky, and Bankat. I think it was Bankat talking the other time. Okay, so let me just go ahead and share my screen. But before that, let me just ask like a few questions. And for that, you can just use the chat, because I would like to know like what you know. Wait, let me, if I'm sharing just this. Okay. All right, good. All right, so what we're going to be talking about today is the superchain on interoperability, focusing on leaks. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we do that, I know you guys are in a kind of like a cohort for blockchain development and the like. So I would like to know, like, what's your understanding of the blockchain before I start like explaining the superchain interoperability? Because if you don't understand how the blockchain works, it's you kind of like be hard for you to understand how the superchain interoperability works. So anyone wants to do that? So you can use the chat to explain like what you understand about it.
Sorry, please. I think your mic is muted.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah.
that. Sorry. Okay, so Banker to say interoperability in blockchain refers to the ability of different blockchain networks to communicate, share data, and interact seamlessly with one another. Awesome. Awesome. So what you explained was interoperability, but I was just asking for like the explanation of what you understand by the blockchain, the basic terms like blockchain. But that's a very nice explanation. Very nice explanation. Anyone else? Anyone else? Blockchain can simply be seen as a distributed ledger. Okay. Nice one, Kingsley. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. So if you still have your answers, I mean, you can still like keep typing them. I'm going to check. So Lisk Superchain Interoperability. So let's just get into it, right? But before we do that, let me just go ahead and introduce myself. Okay, so my name is Victoria Adidayo. I like being called Vikesh. I'm a blockchain developer, but I've been a software developer for about 4 years now. And an ambassador at Leaks, a technical writer at Horus Lab, and also a DevRel at Women in DeFi. And I also mentor from time to time. Okay, blockchain. Okay, Banker to say blockchain is a trustworthy, temper-proof, immutable way of storing and sharing information. I actually like that explanation. Thank you, Bankat. Okay, so moving on. What is a superchain? Because that's why we're all here today. What is a superchain? Like, why do we need the superchain? How did the superchain come to be? Why did these folks think that, okay, the superchain is something that we actually need? But Bankard has actually explained interoperability, and which is what we're going to be looking at today. So the superchain and interoperability are kind of like working like hand in hand. So let's go there. So the superchain is a growing network of blockchains that built using a shared standard code base called the OP stack. The superchain is a growing network of blockchains that are built using the shared standard code base called the OP stack. And this OP stack allows blockchains to interact in ways that other blockchains cannot. Interoperability, interact. So it's kind of like the same word. So optimism is like a whole lot more than a single chain, and the super chain is a part of the optimism ecosystem. So when I say OP, I mean optimism. So when you want to like trade OP on all those trading platforms, you definitely see something like OP or optimism. Many of them that don't actually put optimism, so just use OP. So OP is like the short form of saying optimism. So OP stack. So that's the optimism stack. So when people think of optimism, they think of like normal layer, just the normal blockchain, like kind of like a layer 2 blockchain and stuff like that. But it's a whole more than that, right? It's a whole more than that. So going to the basics now, we have two types of tools, right? Because we all know that we have an issue with scalability on the blockchain, right? So we have that issue with scalability. So these L2s are just a way of scaling Ethereum. And we have two types of layer 2s. Okay, so I'm getting more answers. Jetro, nice one. Okay, so we have two types of L2s. We have the optimistic L2s, which is also known as a roll-up. Then the zero knowledge roll-up as well. So the optimistic roll-up just assumes that the transactions are valid. If there is no, if no one raises a dispute, like, okay, say this so and so transaction is not valid or something like that, it just assumes that the transactions are valid. But the zero knowledge roll-ups use like a mathematical computation to be sure that the transactions are valid. It doesn't just assume, it makes sure that the transactions are valid. So that's kind of like the simple explanation of the difference. That's not what we are going to be talking about today, but I just want to give you like an idea. So the optimism, the whole issue, the whole thing about the optimism and the superchain is just that it's trying to create a standard for optimistic roll-ups. A standard for optimistic rollup. We have zero knowledge rollup like Stacknet and ZK Proven, ZK Sync and the others. So those are zero knowledge rollups. For optimistic rollups now, so optimism just like decided that okay, instead of having all these rollups coming into like the ecosystem, coming into Ethereum, trying to scale and do all those stuff, why not just create a standard that we all use, like a shared standard? So because we have this issue with the blockchain, right? When you want to, you can't like blockchains do not speak to each other based on the standard that we have currently with layer twos. They don't speak to each other. Let's say you want to trade leaks to another currency or another asset, another blockchain's asset. You have to use a bridge, which is stressful. It is stressful. Those doing the leaks airdrop currently are going to like testify with the kind of like the stress involved with bridging to this, bridging to that. You need to have ETH to bridge to the leaks ETH and all that. But if we have interoperability working, you don't have to go through all that stress of bridging and all that. You just need to, if they are using like a standard code base, like something like okay, standard, because okay, I also do front end, right? So just imagine we also have that issue with front end actually. It's funny. So when I started writing like front end, we started like JavaScript, and JavaScript is cool. Everybody we use JavaScript and all that. Everybody is good with JavaScript. But they came and said, okay, framework is good. Everybody started creating their own frameworks. Started with libraries like jQuery. Then we started with frameworks like React and the others, plenty. So it's kind of like chaotic because as a front-end developer, you need to learn like a lot of frameworks and you need to be perfect with them and all that. So it's a lot of them. So just imagine, actually, like that's why me and front-end, we are not friends. Just imagine like all these people now, they come together and say, okay, let's just create one framework that is very good, instead of all of us trying to create our own solutions to the problem that is not even there in the first place. Okay, it's there, but you get what I mean. But so that's the same issues we have with blockchain. So everybody is trying to scale Ethereum. Everybody is trying to create their own L2s. You can't stop people from creating their own layer twos. You can't stop people from scaling the blockchain. It's unavoidable, right? So optimism just came and said, okay, instead of allowing all these guys create their own L2s, why not just let's use like a standard? So we have like a standard, then all the L2s that are coming up are going to follow this standard. So all these layer twos, optimistic rollups now, you see them on the super chain. We have like a lot of them on the super chain. We have Base, we have Cello, we have Scroll, we have there's a lot of them, actually, a lot of them. So this is like a big step towards interoperability. Like I'm so happy with it. Like immediately when I met the Lisk team and they explained the super chain and how they are also part of the super chain collective and all that, I was very excited because this is like a dream come true for me, because I don't want to have like a future where you have to like use all these bridges that gets hacked, and hackers are always trying to hack them. But anyway, moving on. So next slide. Okay, so what is the current issue with interoperability between blockchain networks? I've actually explained a few of them, but let's just break them down a bit. So what's the current issue we have? Like, why is interoperability between blockchain networks not possible? Why? And why is the super chain? Why do we actually need like this standard code base that all of them actually follow? Why do we need that? Okay, let me just use this instance here. On the blockchain, for if you've actually like gone in deep, you know that we have Ethereum improvement proposals, right? EIPs. So these proposals are people are okay, they bring these proposals and say, okay, this is how like the standard of, we have the standard of creating ERC20, we have the standard of creating ERC721, which is NFTs. We have a lot of standard, also standard in what do you call that stuff again? I've forgotten. But anyway, there's a lot of Ethereum improvements proposals that a lot of people are doing. So that is like a standard. And that's why Ethereum it's what it is today, because we have a standard that all of us must follow. Even if you want to create a proposal, there is also a standard that you have to follow in creating that proposal. And so that's just an instance I'm giving. So current issues we have isolated blockchain networks. We are isolated. Not me, I'm not isolated, but yeah, blockchain networks, they're isolated. They don't like, I don't know if they don't like their self share, but everybody's just like in a bubble of their own, right? Doing their own thing. Me, I do my thing, you do your thing. We see on Twitter every day, all these blockchain networks, they like fighting themselves. Especially Solana and Biz. Don't quote me anywhere, Ojo, please. Okay, so isolated blockchain networks, we're isolated. We don't like ourselves. So that is one of the issues we have. And also another one is lack of a universal standard. We don't have a universal standard, and that's what Superchain is bringing in for us. And complexity in implementation. This is a big one actually. Complexity. It's complex, right? It's a complex one. So developing all these interoperability solutions requires a lot of advanced cryptographic technique for you to be able to do it. So it's not a small thing to be able to implement. So that's why a lot of the interoperability thing that we're talking about since has not been possible. But with the super chain, it's looking like it's going to happen in the near future, right? So that is one of the issues we have. And another one is latency and scalability issue. Yeah, this one is very important. So cross-chain transactions can be slow because when you have like multiple confirmations that are required, so it can delay or hinder another person. So one blockchain can have like fast confirmation time, then another blockchain can have slow confirmation time. So it's kind of like the issue, everyone trying to say my own is fast, your own is slow and all that. So nobody wants to like come together and do their thing. But if there is a way that they can customize their chains, which is what is possible with the super chain actually. With the super chain, you can customize your own L2. So for leaks now, the OP stack, we are also using the OP stack, but it's customized to the needs of leaks. Basis on like it's customized to their own needs as well. So another issue is economic and governance disparities. All of them have like their own governance structure and how they are doing their own governance model and stuff like that. So you don't want chains to have economic crisis and stuff like that. So that is the issue why interoperability is not possible. Because me for one, I'm always wondering like why is interoperability so hard? Like why can't you guys just come together? But it's a lot more complicated than that. And another one is lack of collaboration. Don't collaborate. Just projects are just focus on building their own ecosystem. Just want to build my own people, my own projects. I don't want to, collaborate with another one. So that's one of the issue we have. But with the super chain, if I'm going to like show you like all the chains on the super chain for you to know that collaboration is a thing that let me see. Let me just share this to you guys. So it's a thing that is going to definitely happen. So let me open it up. So you see, all these things we're saying is just like, okay, why it's not possible. But let me share this tab instead. Okay, yeah, you guys can see that. Okay, so let's explore the OP chain. So that is what I'm telling you, that interoperability is in the near future, like it's already happening. So you can see all these chains. Imagine how many are they have 60 L2s, and these are L2s that are standing on their own self. They already have like their own liquidity and stuff like that on their own. So you see Base, Open Mainnet, Moon Network, all these ones. I'm actually just seeing these ones for the first time. You have leaks and all those other ones. I don't know if you can recognize any other chain here. So you should be able to recognize some others. I think these ones are just new chains that are joining. Wow, there are plenty. Yeah, I've actually heard of Mantle as well. Even Metis. Okay. So these are like the chains on the super chain, which is amazing. Like other ones are still coming on board. There are other optimistic rollups that have not yet integrated the OP stack into their own architecture, but they're going to do that soon. So yeah, next slide. Okay, so how does the super chain achieve interoperability? If there's any question you have, you can drop it on the chat. I'm going to answer like curiosity, because sometimes when I listen to sessions like this, I have questions, but as the person is talking, the question will just keep in my head. So if you have questions, you can just drop them, and I'm definitely going to answer them. When I'm done with certain sections, I'm just going to check the chat. So as the curiosity is coming to you, you can just put it on the chat box, and I'm going to attend to them. Okay, so how does the superchain achieve interoperability? The superchain like registry. So this is how like they actually, because okay, you'll be wondering, these super chains, like all these, okay, not super chains, these blockchains, right? All of them, all these L2s, they are in one. It's going to be like a lot. So even me to actually like wonder, like, how is this possible to maintain structure? Because structure is a very, very important thing. All these blockchains, they have like their own architecture, their own how they run and all that. So imagine bringing all these L2s together. So how is that going to like, achieve a structure, right? So we have the superchain registry, which is one way that the superchain is actually, optimism is actually looking to achieve structure. So the superchain registry is going to be like an information hub, and it's going to be providing thorough actionable information for every chain on the superchain. The registry will provide a source of truth for the configuration, security, and the policy choices made across the superchain, making it easier to discover, access, and utilize different chains in the network. So it's just like a registry where you go see the blockchains that are on the superchain, because there's a lot of them, right? So for example, now me as a developer, I'm looking for an L2 to build on. So I just go to the superchain registry, and I look at the L2s, their infrastructure, how they support their developers and their builders, right? How they support their users, what are the infrastructures they have. So this registry is going to have all that. So you don't need to stress yourself too much. What you just need to do is go to the registry, and you're going to see like the source of truth. You're going to see like transparency, everything the L2 has that can benefit you in what you're building. So you're just going to discover, just making it easier for you to, jump and, see which chain is good for you, because they are sharing the same architecture. So doesn't mean if you're on leaks, you can also make transactions on these. Like you can send your funds to through on scroll, on cello, to through like that. So it's not like a different thing, but you still need to know if the blockchain you're using has like the configuration, because the way the superchain works here, you're given the OP stack. So what you need to do is configure it to your chains. And I've explained it earlier. So it's like a stack they're giving you. It's like a standard configuration. So while we are at Web3 Bridge, our mentor was telling us that okay, we have an Ethereum standard for the ERC20. That doesn't mean that you can't add your own functionality to it. Like your token, if you're creating an ERC20 token, you have like all these standard functions that you can add to your ERC20. That doesn't mean that you can't add extra features to your ERC20. If you want to make your give a lock time to your token, you can do that. If you want to add other configurations and other things to your token, you can also do that. If you want to add restrictions, you can also do that. But there is a standard that you must follow. There are functions that must be on your ERC20 for it to actually like be a standard token, right? So that is the same thing that's with the superchain. You are giving a stack, you're giving a standard for you to follow, but that doesn't mean that you can't customize it and configure it to the need of your chain. Okay, so yeah, making it easier to discover, access, and utilize different chains in the network. Okay, so we also have block space charter on the superchain. So this is a powerful new framework that gives optimism governance the tool to make informed decision about protocol upgrade, taking into account the potential differences between the different kinds of chain and what they need. Because this block space charter is going to be like where the informations about the superchain is going to be made, because there's also the optimism governance, right? So for all these informations, all these decisions to be made, you don't want to make a decision that is going to affect this blockchain and going to favor the other blockchain. You need to make sure that the changes you're making to the super chain is going to favor all the chains with a different kind of architecture, there are different types of configuration and everything they're using, right? Just give me a sec. Okay. All right, so the different type of tools and what they are using, right? So now let's focus on leaks, which is why we are here. So we have a lot of L2s on the superchain. So what is the advantage of building on leaks, right? So all the chains building on with the OP stack share security updates. When one project finds a vulnerability and patches it, all the other chain gets the patch and upgrade. So one of the advantages of building on leaks is that you're having like a lot of support, right? A lot of support from all these other big chains and all these other chains that are actually doing well for themselves, even leaks as well. So all these chains, all of them using the OP stack, they share security upgrade. So you are kind of like catered for, right? What your project needs, everything you need for you to be like a successful project, you have it on the leaks because they all share the same infrastructure. And also there's also like a shared code base that ensures the projects are interconnected and interoperable. So if you're building on leaks, that doesn't mean that you're restricted to the infrastructure on Scroll. That doesn't mean you're restricted to the infrastructure on Mantle. That doesn't mean you're not restricted at all building on leaks. So, and another thing is that Leaks is one of the projects on the Superchain that offers maximum support to builders in the ecosystem. So, for example, right, here in Africa, Leaks has a lot of partnership with a lot of communities, right? So one approach Leaks is taking that actually like I love a lot is the partnership and the need to care for those that are underrepresented. So we have a lot of partnership. Let's say we're partnering with Web3 Bridge, partnering also with Blockfuse Lab, partnering with Kiboko DAO in Kenya, partnering with a lot of other infrastructure, IR and Civil Labs and all these other folks, right? So Leaks has this belief that the fact that you are in and you are in a state or you are in a community or you are in a country that doesn't really people don't really believe in, right? That doesn't mean that potential cannot come out from them. Like one thing I believe is that when I was like a few years ago, I was in collab, right? So a lot of projects actually came out from collab, and that people do not actually believe it that this kind of projects can actually come out from collab. So that is the mentality that the team at Leaks have. The fact that you are from a state or from a community that people don't really see that you have the potential to do something doesn't mean that you don't have that. And that is very, very important because a lot of potentials, like all these guys that you see outside the country, even those that went for DEFCON, right? They're like people you see on a day-to-day basis, but you didn't actually believe that that would actually be possible. So you see some of your friends and some of your folks doing well and all that. That doesn't mean that they actually believe that they are limited. So one thing I know for sure is that I won't allow my current where I am currently to define where I'm going to be in the future. I don't like settle and say, okay, I'm relaxed. This is where I'm supposed to be. No, I strive to be better. I strive to be so. The Leaks team believes that okay, if you give these people enough knowledge and enough support, they're going to provide a lot of projects and a lot of uh, products and projects on the ecosystem. So they don't really believe that okay, it's just that okay, let's just focus on those people that are already doing well. No, they are coming into our communities, coming into all these underrepresented communities and making sure that they are giving them the right support, give them the right help, giving them, like me for one, I'm a testimony to like how the Leaks team and their structure and everything, how they are actually like focusing on Africa. Because one thing I know for sure is that I always say this every event that I'm in, the Africans, we have a lot of potentials to offer that we don't actually know yet. So they're in like America and all these other countries, right? So let's speak to our level now. We are here. Other countries like America and the US and all that. So they have a lot of infrastructures that's already working for them, right? They have a lot of infrastructures that they already have, and some startups may or may not really like thrive on the current states they have, because they don't have issues with water, they don't have issues with lights, they don't have people that are actually thriving in Nigeria here with their solar the lights problem and all that, the light solution they are giving to people. They can't actually like thrive to that extent if they're in the US and all that, because they already have a working infrastructure for them. In the inside, what I'm saying is that you have a lot of potentials to provide help and solutions to people in your country, like here in Nigeria and in Africa. We have a lot of things that is not yet working for us that we can use the blockchain technology to make that work for us. So that is what I'm trying to say. You have like you are the price. That's what I'm trying to say. You are the price. You have a lot of things that is not working in your country. You have, if you look at the woman in the market, there's a lot of ways you can improve her life. If you look at your parents, there's a lot of ways you can improve their life and build technologies and build products that actually like solve the day to day. So when I think about when people ask me what am I going to build, what's the idea of a startup that you feel like, I say don't think big, actually. Don't think, don't think don't think, like think, look around you, look around your ecosystem, look around your community. Like how can you use blockchain technology to solve a problem that these folks are facing? How can you use blockchain technology to make this easier for, like, there's a lot of simple easy ways there that you can build a lot of things for like your community and for Nigeria that you actually would sell, right? You would sell. That's what I'm trying to say. You would sell here in Africa, here in Nigeria, you would sell. So we have a lot of things that is not yet been built and people don't know yet. People are always thinking, let me do this, let me do that, let me think, start small. That's what I'm trying to say. Start small. Start by providing help to your community. Start by providing help to Nigeria before you now start thinking, okay, let me do this, let me do that, let me do that. So I hope I've spoken too much actually, but I hope this helped a lot. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so multi-chain. Okay, question. Okay, Richard. Was it a mistake or you have a question? Okay, go ahead, Richard. Richard, your hand is raised. Okay. I think that was a mistake. But if you have a question, you can ask a question. Okay, so multi-chain interoperability. So to increase adoption, right? To increase adoption, because I've been saying since that, okay, you can look at the woman in the market and your neighbor and how you can improve their life. But to actually make it easier for these guys to come on chain, we need it to be easy. We need it to be seamless. We don't want to tell the woman in the market that before you use my app, you have to go and do this, you have to go and do that, you have to go and learn about the blockchain, you have to go and do this, you have to do that. Because Sorry for that, Scott. I am back. Okay, thank you. I hope I wasn't gone for long though. Let me see. Okay, so okay, for a minute. Thank you. All right. So what I was saying is that to increase the adoption, right, we need to make Web3 applications feel seamless and easy to use. They don't need to require a very technical understanding for you to be able to use them, honestly. Like if I want to use your application, like sometimes I tell my sister, go to this application, go and do this, go and do that. She says it's too complicated, it's too hard. She actually like lost interest for a minute. But I didn't allow her, she'll not rest in this house. But what I'm trying to say is that we need to make it easy to use. We need to make it feel like a breeze, the way Web2 applications are. To use certain Web2 applications, you don't need to know much. You just need to know the basics. Have an Android phone, have internet connection, and that's it. No stress, buy data, and that's all. So, so just like you don't need to know how the internet browser takes us from Google to YouTube by sending HTTP requests, you don't need to know that one. You don't need to know that. You just need to know that, okay, you are typing something on Google, you're typing YouTube and it's taking you to YouTube, you're typing this and it's taking you to Facebook and all that. So it's kind of like easy. But come to think of it, actually, come to think of it, there was a time that people actually paid to open Facebook accounts. You know, there was a time like that. People actually pay to open Facebook accounts. I know that time, then in Kaduna, we actually like go to all these what do they call them? Uh, ah, all these computer shops, I've forgotten. But all these computer shops, go there, open Facebook account for people and they pay you and all that. So it's a lot of kind of like we've grown from where we were actually. So we've grown from where we were. So let's not just be discouraged on how the blockchain technology is right now. Cyber cafe, God bless you. So let's not be discouraged on how the technology is right now. So we're actually growing, The adoption is increasing, but we just need to do more to make sure that we are increasing the adoption, right? So one of the biggest problems for onboarding new users is like the multitude of chains created and technical knowledge needed to switch your funds from between these chains to another chain. I have like funds on Leaks now. I want to switch it to another L2 or to Ethereum. I have to use like Bridge. I have to use like Decentralized platform, which I don't really like, but I don't have a choice. It's kind of like and before you know, you see, oh, this chain is good, this chain is that, this chain is the best, this chain is this. Why not just put all this chain in one place and let's all just be using the same architecture? It's easier that way, actually. So as the number of chain increases, moving assets between chains quickly and safely can be challenging, especially when you use bridges. We hear a lot of time where bridges are compromised, right? So it's not 100% safe. So, and also for developers, it's also difficult to build apps that work on different blockchains. That thing is very, very stressful. Because I'm building something with my team right now, and we just sat down like in a meeting one day. I was just like, what blockchain is actually good? Because we are thinking of building this on this blockchain, but this blockchain offers so 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 and so, and this other blockchain doesn't give you this, but they have so so and so. So you just have to like, okay, we just agreed that we are going to build on this blockchain first using their own architectures. Then you carry that one now, go and build it. But it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress. These blockchains, they have different things they use. They have different architectures. When it comes to like on-chain infrastructures, things like oracles, things like the other ones, different blockchains with the oracles that they support, different blockchains with the infrastructures that they support. So it can be challenging for a developer to kind of like have to work towards like building for your users on different chains and different blockchain networks. It's very stressful. So optimism envisions a unified superchain. So interoperability make access like and users accessible from anywhere on the superchain. So that is the optimistic future that we are looking at. A future where you don't need to know that, okay, this is the blockchain that I'm using. We are unified, we are one, we are interoperable. That means that if I have assets and here and I have users here, my users can easily change their assets to this other chain and come here and come and do their transactions, then it will actually increase the revenue and the funds that are flowing on the blockchain. Like, just picture it. You can, if you have $100 in this chain, you can easily just say, okay, they're coming to this chain and I just want to like switch. Let me just switch the network, and immediately my funds, like, it's the same money like everywhere. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's sweet. It's the same way with your bank app. With your bank app, you just say, okay, I have money in this bank. I have money in Access. Let me switch. Let me send this money from Access to GTB. It's like it's a breeze. Just say, type the money. But you cannot do that with blockchain right now. You have to use a bridge to bridge it to that blockchain's assets. Then you now have to use it on that blockchain. Because if you want to use money now on this blockchain, you have to bridge the money from that other blockchain to this blockchain for you to be able to use it. No more is a lot, but the future we are looking at, which is an optimistic future, it's a future where there's no this blockchain, there's no that blockchain. There is, but we're kind of like a unified system. Nobody is building separately. Nobody is isolated anymore. Everybody is one. And for you to know that, for you to imagine this amount of L2s that are currently on the superchain, that's to tell you that the vision, a lot of people like all this. You just imagine all these people like, wow, like it's amazing. All these L2s, like they're coming and say, okay, let's be a part of this collective. Let's be a part of this, right? No, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, my colleague is here, Itete. We're going to be taking you on the next session. But before that, let me just show you, let me just send something. That's for those that want to go in deep. So you can actually read this. So it's a lot more in depth than what I've explained here. So you can actually look at this a lot more in depth. So let me open it. I just sent it to the chat, so you can just save it. All right, so this is a lot more like technical overview on like everything with the OP stack, with the super chain, like, and everything. So if you want to go in deeply, and the OP stack and some of the infrastructures are open source. So if you want to contribute, and for those that have the dream of creating their own L2s one day, I know that a lot of people here want to create their own L2s, and congratulations in advance. So you can look at this, think of how you can build your own L2 on the super chain and all that. So yeah, so I think that's all for me. If you have any questions, you can drop them and I'm going to respond. So yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? If you're talking, I can hear you. Okay. Any question? Okay, Lucky says none for now. Okay. That's to say you guys understand, or I've actually confused you guys, but I believe I've not confused you guys because yeah. All right. So thank you guys so much for having me. Itete, can you hear me? Okay, Lucky.
Okay, there's a question.
Okay.
Comfort.
Good morning.
Comfort.
Good morning. Good morning.
Just comfort.
All right, Jim.
Jim.
All right. So my question is the no gas fee and easy swap to other chains only on the L2 blockchains? What about the L1 blockchains?
Sorry. When you say L1 blockchains, what do you mean?
Like
Ethereum.
yes, like Ethereum blockchains that are not built on another blockchain.
Okay. So actually, This is actually something that actually like happened for real. Vitalik himself actually advised people not to build on Ethereum L1, right? Build on an L2. It's more advisable. So a lot of infrastructure, a lot of things, a lot of funds and everything is being pushed into um updates that actually like help L2s and not L1. Right. Any change that is made to L1 at the moment, when I say L1, I mean Ethereum. Any change that is made to Ethereum L1 currently is definitely an update that helps L2s, right? So Vitalik himself advised people not to build on L1. If you have an app on L1, it's advisable to move it to an L2 because L1 is not, they're not advisable to build on it anymore. L2s are more better because cheaper gas fee, faster transactions. I really can't fathom why someone would want to build on an L1, but I don't know if that answered your question or you have a follow-up.
Yeah, that's the question. And then when do we expect to see this solution coming to life?
That's a super chain.
Yes.
It's actually already happening because we have the super chain this thing. What is that stuff again? Uh Let me share my screen so you see like a lot of things already happening. So it's actually already, but some of it are still experimental, right? So because I explained how these things are very complicated to build, it takes uh, a lot of tests and a lot of things to be sure that okay, this thing is ready for market, this thing is ready to be used. I think I saw that somewhere, but I can't find it anymore. But anyway, there is the super chain faucets where all these chains are there with their own faucets. If you want to build, you can just go there and get the faucet of this thing. So there's a lot of things already happening. So you have like better features, a lot of things already happening like that. So I don't have like a specific time, but early 2025, first quarter or second quarter, depends. We don't have a definite answer yet, but between first quarter or second quarter. So that's where you should be expecting it.
All right, thank you. That will be all for now.
Okay. So I can see other questions. What consensus mechanism does Leaks Superchain utilize? Okay. Mm, okay. Consensus mechanism. Let's see. How does the Leaks Superchain handle side chains and what benefits do they offer for scalability and customization? So the Leaks Superchain like handles okay side chains. When you say the superchain, okay, don't say Leaks Superchain, just say Superchain. Because Leaks is also part of the superchain, and the side chains are also benefiting from like the architectures of the superchain. So there's a lot of side chains also on Optimism. So they're also benefiting from what the superchain offers. So all the things I've explained with the superchain and how it's helping the registry, the block charter, and everything. So it's also available to those side chains on the superchain. So Leaks uses delegated proof of stake. Consensus mechanism. Yes, true. How can businesses or developers benefit from building on the Leaks ecosystem? Okay, so businesses and developers, there's a lot of ways you can benefit, and we have the this thing, what do you call it? Oof. So we have a cohort or what do you call it? Oh, I've forgotten the name of that stuff. But anyway, we have a grant, right? So we have grants where you get it happened, I think the last one happened like last month. So where there was a form where you fill to get the grant, and there's also the 100K that you can get. So for the projects that are actually like on the current cohort for the CV labs, so Host It is also part of it, and Streamliver and other projects are actually building on Leaks currently. So you also have the 100K in grant. So it's like an incubation hub. So it's hosted by CV Labs, and there's also another one with Aya at the moment, right? So the key is just to stay active on the ecosystem, right? You don't know when these grants and incubation hub are going to happen. So with the incubation hub helps with it's just like um, a cohort, right? So you have like all these projects submit their idea. So if you have an amazing idea, you want to submit it to leaks, so you can submit it, and after you have access to mentors, so they mentor you on how to actually bring your product to life, how to get users, and how to they actually give you a lot of support with the ecosystem. And so after that you get access to the 100K in grant. So if your project actually passes, then you get 100K in grant. That is the incubation hub. But for the grant doesn't need any of those prolonged listing. The grant is just you submit your project, and if your project is amazing, they give you the grant. Simple as that. Okay, thank you, Titi. Titi has been asking a lot of questions, so you can also check the chat. So, if Superchain uses the delegated proof of stake mechanism, what measures to replace in place to prevent? Okay, yes. Okay, just check the chat. Titi has been answering a lot of questions. Thank you so much, Titi. So, I think that is all from me. I think that's all the questions. That's all the questions have been answered. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. Someone is raising their hand. Or is that a mistake? Is that a mistake? Okay. Awesome. And there's a lot of advantages with building on Leaks, right? A lot of other advantages with the community support. We have a Leaks Nigeria Telegram channel. So if you're not there, you should actually be there, because there's a lot of support and help that you can get from the community. Lucky.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So I have a question concerning interoperability. My
Okay.
name is Shaq Suleiman, and this is my question. So you spoke about the OP stack, about how it's actually a standard of L2s, especially using like a standard code base for building the L2. Okay, so here's my question. What do you think about the interoperability that the OP stack brings, and then this solution that these guys are working on, Hyperbridge? Do you get that?
I think I've heard of Hyperbridge, but can you tell me a little bit about them?
Yeah, so I don't think they use OP stack, if I'm not mistaken. But they are also a solution for interoperability between blockchain. I don't think it's strictly just for blockchains that support the whole OP stack thing and all that.
So I'm checking them now, and it seems to be like a different. Wait, that's my network gone. Okay, I can't open it. I think I have to use a VPN or something. Is it Hyperbridge on Polkadot, or which one?
Hyperbridge, but it's like they utilized Polkadot or something to build it.
Okay, I don't know about that, but okay, Hyperbridge capability. Okay. I think I just saw it. Let me share my screen for those that want to also look at it as well. Okay. So interoperability is a core vision of the Polkadot technology. 3 years of blockchain development, much could have been put to making a secure interoperability solution between blockchains. Polkadot provides secure interoperability between parachains through consensus. Okay. when there's a shared security. Okay. But I don't know if there are already chains that's actually using this already. I don't know. I haven't actually like heard of this. But Polkadot have like a lot of infrastructures. They're doing a lot of things at the moment. So kudos to them. But I would say this is different from the super chain. I would say this is different, but because this is majorly for those that are building on the Polkadot technology, right? So because you can see here, they're saying cross-chain consensus messaging formats. So I think what they're trying to do is that if you are like L2 or you are building a project, so you can actually use these their technologies, then you have access to like do cross-chain interactions with other projects on other ecosystem. But that would mean that that L2 or that network would have to integrate to this technology that they are trying to use. So I don't know how like this is possible because I don't know if they have like projects already. So I don't want to say what I don't know about this. But what I know is with the super chain, like I've explained earlier, there's a lot of L2s already on the super chain. That's to tell you how people actually trust the infrastructure that the optimism team are building, right? The OP stack is like a standard. So other L2s that are building on them. So let me just explain this, right? With the super chain, as you're building your L2, you are using the stack. So it's not that okay, you have your L2 already, then you now start. No. As you're building your L2, you are using the OP stack. So it's like the base foundation of your blockchain. So everything you're using, every update, every upgrade is pertaining to the upgrades that are on the OP stack. So I feel like this is a more future-proof solution, right? Because you have this standard already that other blockchains have like as a base layer. They are using it as their block level for development. So from the ground up, they're using it. So I don't know if it should be for because a lot of people have actually like tried interoperability when like an L2 is already, then they kind of like use it on their own L2 and all that. But this is like a standard stack that all the other L2s have like can actually you know contribute to, right? So it's open source. So all the other L2s on here can contribute to this to make it better because they are like a family, right? So it's like the super chain collective. All of them are like a collective working together. They also they're also working separately, but they are using the same infrastructure, the same bedrock, the same infrastructure, the same stack. So they are kind of like together. So I feel like this is a more super proof, a future proof solution for to solve the issue we have with interoperability. Like that's just me personally. But thank you for telling me about this hyperbridge. I'm going to check about it more. So you can just on your own just do your own little research on how it works and what's the difference between it and the super chain, and you just pick from them. I'm a big fan of do your own research. So yeah, I think that's all the questions we have. Okay,
Okay, one last, yeah. Okay, I've been going through the Lisk code base for 2 days now because I just want to, I'm interested in knowing about the superchain, like how does Lisk integrate and implement the superchain model? Let's say if I want to build my own L2s, so how do I get to integrate it?
sorry, I'm muted. Okay, so you're looking at it and you want to build your own L2, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
I was thinking maybe I'll find a file or a place where Lisk integrate it or in the repo or stuff. So I don't know how it's been done. So maybe you can give me.
Mm. Okay, so this is, I don't know if you can see this. Okay. So this is the Optimism GitHub. I don't know if you've seen this.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the super chain registry I was talking about. So all these ones now, I think they should have, let me check the super chain registry. So you can see issues are actually opened, and you can submit your own issue. Uh, it's open source, so but it's a more higher grade open source. So you can just check this out. Then you need to actually like study everything they're doing. Start from the docs, actually. Start from the docs. Then from the docs, you can build up from checking how they implemented their own gets, and then uh, all these other things that they actually use. So there's a lot of things involved, right? A lot of things involved with starting with building your own L2. So you have to make sure that I would advise you go to their GitHub, sorry, not GitHub, Discord. So if you have questions, I'm sure their team would be available to answer your questions. So just tell them you want to build your own L2, and you have some questions. But before you do that, make sure you've done your own research. Make sure that you have a lot of things that so that if they start asking you questions now, you'll not be confused. You get. So I think this repo is a good, this GitHub is a good start for you, and the docs.
Okay, thank you.
Let me send it. You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Any other one? Is there any other question? Okay. All right. I think that's it. So I think Etete can take the floor. Mm-mm. Okay. Etete, can you hear me? I think you're muted if you're speaking. Can anyone hear me?
Sorry, I think I lost my network for a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I can actually hear you. I think I'm. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I think before my network disconnected, I dropped the link for how to build your own L2 rollup on the Optimism Superchain. I don't know if you saw the link. I should repaste it.
Okay, I just saw it. Awesome. Awesome.
Did anyone see the
So this is
link?
a start for you. I'm actually sharing it now. So they are seeing it. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to Sorry guys, good morning again, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me. Okay,
Yes, I can
so
hear.
I had to switch my router. I think I'm having network problems. So yeah, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Etete Talk. I'm a software engineer. I'm also a blockchain developer, a developer relations advocate. It's great to be here. I'm also a Lisk ambassador. So yeah. So it's been a great, interesting session with Vicky. I'll just continue from where she stopped. I'll be talking about some of the governance and consensus on leaks. And of course, someone was asking a lot of questions on consensus. So we'll take a look at that and then also look at the economic implications of the super chain, right? Interoperability between blockchains. So I think I need to share my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Can anyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome again. My name is Etete Talk, like I said, and then we'll be looking at governance, consensus, and then economic implication of interoperability, which of course is the economic importance of the super chain. So yeah. So what is blockchain governance? So blockchain governance simply is the way or a kind of decision-making protocol that the nodes on a particular blockchain agree on the state of the blockchain. So basically, this is important because it helps to like maintain not just the security and functionality of the blockchain, but it helps to keep the blockchain secure, right? So the blockchain is made up of different nodes, multiple nodes running a particular blockchain software. And basically, all of these nodes are independent hardware. So the governance in this case relates to how is decision making on all of these nodes implemented, being that all of these nodes are different nodes, right? They are just running one software, but there are thousands of them. So how do you govern what goes on this node? Now there are different multiple governance methods before now, starting from the original, which was Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, for those who are familiar with the Bitcoin white paper, I mean, I've read it, I followed the forum, you discover that Nakamoto himself, or Satoshi himself, he used emails to discuss with the developers. That was how they communicated. That was how they decided what needed to be done. They had an open forum where they used emails to communicate. And then this is actually like an off-chain governance kind of system, right? So they decide what's going to happen in the blockchain, off-chain, and then they implement that. We also have another model of blockchain governance, which is, okay, I'm moving this slide now. So yeah, Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin improvement protocols, proposals, not protocols, yeah. So basically, they communicate. I think the last time Satoshi sent an email was in, I think, 2015 or 2018. That was the last email Satoshi sent. So far, he has been quiet for a long time. We hope he speaks very soon. But basically, that's how Bitcoin implements improvements to their proposal. They have an open forum, and then it's open, meaning anybody can see it, and then you see all the emails going back and forth and how to make decisions. And then came Ethereum, but Ethereum came up with a different kind of governance model. Instead of having that open source forum, Ethereum took everything on-chain. Hence, we have the Ethereum improvement proposal. So Ethereum was the first to implement that. So what this means is that you have a certain number of people, normally people that have stake it on Ethereum, that gives them some kind of voting power, right? So they can vote for, or they can propose changes to the protocol. They can vote for or against. So Ethereum improvement proposal is more on-chain, meaning that these decisions are embedded on the blockchain. So it's on-chain for verification. So it's more open source, it's more democratic, it's more decentralized. And then we also have like the hybrid one where they make decisions both on-chain and off-chain. Example is the MakerDAO's off-chain pooling, where basically they conduct their voting off-chain and then they execute the decision of that vote on-chain. So these are the different models of blockchain governance. So basically, it's just a way for decisions to be made on the blockchain in terms of upgrades. If they want to fork the blockchain to probably add some or maintain some stuff or add some upgrades, those decisions have to be made by a governing body. So remember, the blockchain is decentralized, meaning that no one person has total authority. So for these decisions to be made, they have to reach like a form of like maybe consensus, you may put it that way, among those that have stake. Like if you are on the Ethereum network, you have to stake some leaks to be able to have some voting powers to be able to implement any of these improvement proposals or vote for or against them. And then consensus mechanism. So the governance of the blockchain is done using all the stuff, but then the consensus talks about the state of the blockchain, the information, the data on the blockchain. Now, the consensus mechanism is more of a software thing where every node has to agree on information that is actually added to the block, right? So there are different ways. Bitcoin started with the proof of work where there are mathematical computations, and then the computer that finds the node or the nonce of that transaction actually gets to broadcast and then add that to the blockchain. So Ethereum started with this, but this is energy consuming. So Ethereum switched, of course, to the proof of stake. That's Ethereum 2.0. So in the proof of stake, unlike the proof of work, where different computers have to try to find the nonce of every transaction through some mathematical computation. The proof of stake is different because now you have people that have a particular native token of a blockchain. So they stake that particular asset, and then once they stake that asset, they are given what is called voting rights. And then with the voting rights, they have what they call, normally in the proof of stake, we have what they call weaknesses. So in the proof of stake, the people that stake are called delegators. So the delegators get to vote, or normally they vote for weaknesses. And then weaknesses are people that, or are nodes that actually get to add blockchain, blocks to the blockchain, and then they are rewarded for that. So it's a cycle. Remember, it's a proof of stake kind of thing. So it means that everybody that stakes is a delegator, and then you can actually delegate your voting power to someone because there's actually a penalty for people that try to cheat the system. So if, for instance, you delegate your voting power to someone and that person tries to cheat the system, whatsoever penalty that person faces, you also face, right? Because if the person is going to be, normally what happens is if you try to put wrong information on chain, normally all the other validators will reject that information, and then you are penalized by getting a particular percentage of your stake slashed. And then not just you, but every other person that added their voting power to yours, they get a particular amount of stake slashed. So you only need to assign your voting power to probably a validator that you trust or a delegator that you trust, right? So trustworthiness is important there. And then we have many. We have proof of authority. We have delegated proof of stake. So earlier I was mentioning that Lisk uses a delegated proof of stake. I'm going to jump into that soon, but I'd like to talk a bit more about delegated proof of stake. It's actually an upgrade to the normal proof of stake, but the major characteristics of delegated proof of stake is that the token holders, that's people that stake this particular native token, excuse me, people that stake this particular native token, they get to select like the delegates, like I said, and then the delegates, their work is to validate transactions and produce new blocks. And then the delegates, of course, they take turn in proposing and validating blocks. Not as if it's assigned to a particular set of people, it's a cycle thing. So there's always voting, deciding who are the weaknesses, and then the weaknesses are those that actually get to like add take transactions, just like miners. If you can look at the weaknesses as miners in the proof of work. Like for instance, Ethereum, you have when you send a transaction, right? You have miners that go to the transaction pool and then mine transactions, add it to the blockchain and get rewarded for it. So weaknesses actually do that. They are the ones that actually get to like fetch these transactions. But it's important to note that just like miners, right? So delegators or weaknesses, they actually can decide which um, which transaction to add on the blockchain. Just like the miners, they can decide which transactions to add on the blockchain, but at the same time, they cannot change the information of any of those transactions. They can only decide which one to add on the blockchain. The miners also have that ability. That's why you see sometimes if you increase your gas fee, you see that your transaction gets added faster than someone that has a lower gas fee than yours. That's because the miners fetch for those with the higher gas fees first. That means they can decide which transactions to add on the blockchain. But at the end of the day, transactions get added. It's just that they prioritize those with higher gas fees first. And then normally there is, for the proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, there is always like a voting mechanism, like I said, to address the limitations of the traditional proof of stake. And then also, lastly, the proof of stake is more scalable because it is faster, because the validators are elected. Remember, just like the name says, it's a proof of stake, but now it is delegated, right? So basically how it works is that the token holders, like I said, they get to like validate transactions, and then the delegates which are selected, normally based on their reputation or their trustworthiness, you can delegate your votes to them. And then they get this voting power to actually propose and validate new blocks, which they add to the blockchain. And then one thing also I would like to note is that once a block is once a witness or delegator proposes a new block, it must be verified by a certain number of delegates. It's not as if once because you have the voting power, you can propose and add blocks at will. All the blocks that you are adding, they still need to be validated by validators. So that's where they check if you are adding the right information. And then if you are not, of course, you get penalized. So Lisk actually uses a delegated proof of stake. I think there is a slide for that. I'll jump to that. Okay, the governance. So yeah, these are some of the consensus mechanisms, the blockchain. Many different blockchain use different consensus mechanisms. So there are a lot more than this, right? Okay, so the Lisk governance, right? So yeah, so how do Lisk make decisions on-chain? Normally, Lisk has the decentralized autonomous organization that handles that. So to be a member of the DAO, the Lisk DAO, you just need to stake Lisk, right? So once you stake Lisk, you are given some voting powers, and then you can actually propose changes. You can vote or for or against. So Lisk is completely decentralized. So hence, Lisk uses a DAO to actually implement the governance of the blockchain. So this, of course, means that the Lisk DAO is responsible for making decisions on so many things, including allocation of funds. Like if you've been following Lisk from when Lisk migrated to an L2, Lisk was formerly an L1. a sidechain. Someone mentioned a sidechain earlier. Then you could build blockchain applications using JavaScript. But now Lisk is an L2 because Lisk is trying to, of course, make blockchain accessible. And the only way to do this is to allow for communication between blockchains, hence the superchain. So now that Lisk is an L2, Lisk uses, of course, Solidity to build. You can build on Lisk with Solidity, and then all of that stuff. But behind the hood, to actually be part of the decision making in Lisk, which is open to everyone, you just need to stake some Lisk in the Lisk DAO, and then you have voting power. I remember Lisk uses the delegated proof of stake mechanism consensus. So what this means is that you can actually like delegate your votes to now there are some incentives to some of these things behind the hood. So how are they incentives? So let's say you stake some Lisk and then you delegate your voting power to someone that has trustworthiness in the Lisk ecosystem. And then the person proposes some changes. And of course, after everybody votes, those changes are implemented. Once the changes are implemented, there's always like a little incentive that goes to whosoever proposed these changes. And then this incentive is normally shared across everyone that had assigned their voting power to this particular person that probably proposed this upgrade, right? So whatsoever is given to the person is split across everybody that contributed to give him that voting power. And just like the incentives, it means that if the person tries to cheat the system, if the person is penalized, it also goes down to everybody that assigned their voting power to that person. So some of the component, like I said, yeah, the Lisk DAO. So we have the Lisk tally. The tally is a site, it's an on-chain site. So if you go to just a minute, guys. Let me try to get that site. Tally. I think it's tally.lisk.something. Lisk.tally. Lisk.tally. Okay. Just a minute. I'm trying to get the website. So if you go to the Lisk DAO, the sites, I'm not sharing on my screen. I think I should actually share on my screen. Okay. So in the DAO, sorry, I think I need to reshare my screen again. Sorry, let me try to share everything this time around. Okay. Let me try to share the entire window so we'll get to see. All right, so yeah, I hope you can see this now. So this is like the Lisk portal, which is portal.lisk.com. But there is a link down here for the Lisk DAO. So if you go to the Lisk DAO, let's see. Okay, so I'll share this also in the group. Okay, so I think it's still loading, but this is what the Lisk DAO has coming up. It's taking a while. So in the Lisk DAO, you can actually see the proposals that have been made for changes to the protocol. You can see people with the highest voting power. Normally, this voting power is usually a product of other people assigning their voting power to a single person to be able to, because they trust the decision making of that person, right? So remember, if the person gets penalized, you also get penalized. I think that's taking a while, but I've dropped the site, so please check it out. And then we also have like the Lisk, that's the tally, the Lisk DAO tally. It's a tally where you go, you connect your wallet, and then before you do this, please make sure that you have already staked some Lisk in the Lisk portal, and that will give you some voting powers where you can actually do stuff on the Lisk DAO. The Lisk also uses like a governance forum, mostly social media. Lisk is very active on Discord. You can find the Lisk Discord at chat.lisk. And Lisk is also very active. They have a dedicated Telegram channel, both for the global community and also specifically for the Nigerian community and, of course, the Kenyan community, the Ghana community, different communities in Africa. So Lisk also does that, where you can actually get to the forums is for you to be able to discuss about whatsoever proposals you find on the Lisk DAO. You can discuss it there, get more clarification, and then since you've already staked some Lisk, that means you have voting powers which you can use to actually vote for or against. But there are some pros and cons to that, right? So like I said, you can delegate, users can delegate their voting power through. But then for you to be able to propose any changes to the protocol, right, you need a minimum requirement of voting power threshold. That means you need to have a minimum of 300,000 voting power to be able to actually propose any changes. So this is done so that we don't have too many proposals at the same time, because if it's too many, this is a decentralized system, right? So if you have everybody proposing at the same time, it's going to be hard to actually track which changes really needs to be made. So hence, there's a particular minimum threshold of like 300,000 Lisks. This means that you have to stake 300,000 Lisks to be able to propose. But in reality, this is not what happens, because people can delegate their voting powers to others. That means that you may not have up to 10 Lisks. Let's say you stake like 5 Lisks, but you're very active in the ecosystem. And people that have stake, they trust you, and then they can delegate their voting power to you. So you end up having enough voting power to be able to make proposals, right? It's all about your contribution in the ecosystem and how members of the ecosystem trust your judgment. So, but then there's that minimum threshold, and then the proposals, of course, can be voted by any Lisk token holder, right? So for any proposal to actually be confirmed and then the upgrade implemented, it must have a minimum of 24 million voting power for the approval, right? So that means that for every proposal, people have to vote, and people don't just have to vote. People have the votes that, as in, is for this proposal, the vote to implement this proposal. They need a minimum of 24 million Lisks holders, like voting power, to be able to say, okay, this is it, we have crossed this, and then we can implement this. So a true scenario here is recently, I think last 2 or 3 months, when Lisk migrated to an L2 on Ethereum. So Lisk, normally the Lisk token had a maximum supply of 400 million, and then there was a proposal to either burn 100 million or to keep it to utilize it in the community. So that proposal, even though people voted for it, right, it was not implemented because it didn't get the 24 million minimum VPI, that's the voting power Lisk approval it needed to be implemented. So that proposal is still pending. So these are some of the ways that Lisk actually implement governance, ensuring that the whole ecosystem is completely decentralized and not one person has total say in what goes on in the ecosystem. So, and then we move forward to the Lisk consensus here. So we've talked about the delegated proof of stake, and then Lisk uses a delegated proof of stake. The delegates are chosen by token holders, and I'll just replace token holders with voting powers. So to have voting powers, of course, you must be holding Lisk, and then you must have stake Lisk, right? So Lisk uses the delegated proof of stake consensus. Of course, this is in addition to the Ethereum. Remember, Lisk is built on Ethereum, and of course, Ethereum now uses a proof of stake consensus on the L1. So Lisk delegated proof of stake is on Lisk as an L2, and Lisk is also utilizing the security of Ethereum. So it means that it's also utilizing the consensus mechanism of Ethereum, right? So which is proof of stake. So that's what makes Lisk super secured. Lisk is secured by Lisk as a blockchain. Lisk is secured by Ethereum. Lisk is also secured by the collective security of the superchain. So Lisk is very, very, very secured, and that's why we encourage you to, of course, build on Lisk because it has all the security, it has a fast transaction time, it has low gas fee, and of course, Lisk makes, of course, blockchain accessible to everyone, meaning that they provide resources for developers, the resources for builders, resources for everyone to be able to strive in the Web3 ecosystem. All right, so the governance across chain and consensus. Now this is talking about like the governance across the superchain, right? So the superchain is made up of individual blockchains which have their own governance, right? But then they are now coming to the superchain to share in the governance of the superchain, which basically the governance of the superchain is strictly on like it has like this council of security council. Now this security council are majorly first and foremost, these are majorly like the key stakeholders on each of these ecosystem, meaning that these addresses, these stakeholders, they collectively provide security and collectively provide governance. What do I mean by this? It means that the Lisk core developers would collectively provide security with the base, with the optimism, with the scroll core team. So collectively, they secure the superchain. And then collectively, they also make decisions about the superchain. Of course, the superchain mainnet is coming live first quarter of next year. So there's a lot of work. I think it's already on right now because I know that I think there was a summit I attended virtually, and then the speaker was using scaffold. Is it what did they call it? Scaffold OP or something, which basically allows you to build on the superchain. So once you build on that superchain, you have the option of deploying on any network, but you can use it across all networks. So I think with that to be possible, it means the infrastructure is in place, but maybe it's not yet released to the public, and they are doing that first quarter of next year. So the governance across the superchain, like I said, all the collectives, because they are called collectives, that's any blockchain that builds using the OP stack is called a collective of the superchain. So all the collective, normally for security reasons, they are going to share one common L1. In this case, all of them share the common Ethereum because all transactions at the end of the day are secured and validated on the L1, which is Ethereum. And then they all share a common bridge. So this common bridge allows for communication layer between the blockchains on the OP stack. So with this communication layer, it means that anything that is going on Lisk, maybe a blockchain like Base, right? Let's just use Base. So anything going on Lisk, Base has real-time information as to that, even though Base and Lisk are different blockchains, but they are a collective of the superchain. So it's easy for me to deploy on Lisk and then have a user on Base use Lisk because there's that communication layer between all the collectives of the superchain. So this facilitates, of course, liquid transfer, meaning that now you don't have to worry about so much bridging from here to here, because all the collectives of the superchain, they share one common bridge. So it's easy for you to actually bridge any assets between any of the collective blockchains, right? It could be Scroll, it could be Base, it could be Lisk, it could be Optimism. And then all of this is governed, of course, by their security council that is made up of both the core devs and then the core leads in each of these blockchains. And then all of this is done on-chain, which of course is facilitated with the OP stack. The OP stack allows for modularization of blockchain. So all of this activity is completely an on-chain governance, unlike Bitcoin. So no one person has the final say. It has to go through a voting system by all the key stakeholders, and then whatsoever decision they make, is implemented or finalized. So basically, that's how the super chain kind of like manages governance across chain. But remember that each of these blockchains on the super chain, they have their own governance individually, but then they still share in the collective governance of the super chain, right? So this is true decentralization. There's no one person or one entity or one blockchain having the final say. It's completely decentralized, of course. So moving forward, some of the economic implications of interoperability. All right. For me, I think this is too numerous to mention. I mean, apart from the fact that we now have communication between blockchains. So if you look at it, I'll take recently, I was trying to get some token from Lisk to Ethereum, and then most of the exchanges, centralized exchanges I was familiar with, I think most of them are doing upgrades right now. And then the decentralized exchanges, if you go there to bridge, you are going to spend a lot, right? So let's say you are bridging from, Lisk to Ethereum, depending on what you are bridging. If you are bridging it from Lisk to Ethereum, I think you are going to spend like maybe $2. But if you are bridging from Ethereum to Lisk, because you are paying gas fee in Ethereum, you are going to spend like maybe $6. But then this, all this bridging and paying all this, both the gas fee, because each of these protocols you are using to facilitate these transactions, they are going to actually charge you a certain percentage, a certain fee for using their platform. So, and all of this is expensive, it's costly, right? So imagine having that communication layer between blockchains, and then you have that one single bridge where you can easily bridge token from one blockchain to another. What this allows is that you are spending far lesser money because already the blockchains communicate with each other, so it's easier for you to actually move assets between those blockchains without paying all those fees that you pay normally on some of these exchanges that you use. So economically, it may look small, but if you consider the fact that you are building an application and then you are going to have millions of users, and then every time your millions of users need to go to a particular platform to breach their asset or to swap their assets and then come back to your platform to utilize it, right? So it's not just not user friendly because we are trying to improve the user experience for Web3 apps. That, of course, doing that is not in line with what is achievable or what the Web3 space is trying to do in terms of user experience. And then the cost that comes with it, not everybody will be willing to spend such amount on just bridging assets just to implement certain functions, right? So the super chain completely abstracts all of this, allowing, there's another amazing thing about the super chain. You can pay gas fee with any token. That's something amazing, right? So even if I'm on Lisk and then I have some, maybe some, I don't know about stablecoin. I'm looking for a particular token. Let's say something like Scroll uses it at the end of the day. Base also uses it, right? Okay, fine. Let's say I have some Lisk it, and then I'm using a platform or I'm using a project that was deployed on Base. So I need to pay gas fee in Base it, right? But with the super chain, I can actually just, no need to bridge my Lisk it to Base it. I can easily pay for gas fee with the token I have. Yeah, if it's a stable coin, it's also possible to pay your gas fee in stable coin. It's also possible for someone to pay gas fees for you. So there are a lot of economic importance to that. So all of this is to allow for, of course, seamless communication and data exchange, interoperability between the blockchain, the collectives of the superchain. And then I did list some of the benefits, which is, like I said, increased liquidity. So you don't have to breach your assets to and fro. Whatsoever asset that is on Base is readily available for Lisk. Whatsoever asset is on Lisk is readily available for Scroll, because all of them are collectives of of the superchain, right? So that is one way to look at it. And also the concept of efficient capital allocation. So basically what I'm referring to here is basically just the ability for developers, right? So if you needed like, let's say, please give me, excuse me. So if you needed like, let's say, some kind of, I'm looking for a project that kind of like implements this, let's see. So if you're looking for like, sometimes let's say you're building a particular project and then you're targeting a particular set of users, right? And then as a builder, you need access to maybe some of the tests, or test whatsoever native token that is for users that you want to test your application. So now normally you could have like the most common one is to have Sepolia it for testing, right? So if you have like Sepolia it on, let's say, Ethereum, which is an L1, and then you needed to use it in any of your application, which in this case could be on any of the collectives of the superchain. So normally what you do first is you need to like bridge your assets from the L1 to the L2, and then you can use it on the L2. But then since the concept of the superchain is that all of them share one L1, so it means that your asset on the L1 can still be used for whatsoever purpose that you need it for on that L2, right? As long as it is a member of, or the blockchain is a collective of the superchain, and then the superchain interacts directly with the L1. So whatsoever asset you have in the L1, you can easily use that in the L2. Of course, for developers, this reduces silos, right? Because instead of now deploying or redeploying your application, you have users on Base, on Leaks, on Scroll, on Optimism, on Ethereum. So normally, before now, you have to like deploy your smart contract in all of these chains, right? Because you have users there, right? But now that is completely annihilated. So developers can just focus on building the right logic, keeping it secured, keeping it efficient, because wherever they deploy it, of course, it will be used across the collectives of this superchain. And then this reduces costs of development on the developer side, because you don't need, normally when you're deploying to all these chains, like for instance, typical example, if you look at the Uniswap smart contract, Uniswap smart contract is deployed across so many multiple chains, but all of them interacting directly with Ethereum, right? So they have the core contract on Ethereum, but then for every token that they allow you to swap for, right? If the token is like not built on Ethereum L1 directly, it comes from another blockchain, they have to deploy their smart contract on that blockchain to be able to allow for that asset transfer, asset creation, and all of that stuff. Even what Chainlink CCIP does is the same thing. So Chainlink has to like deploy on all these blockchains so that it can allow users to move assets to and fro. But then the superchain completely annihilates that. You just deploy once and focus on making it better, while of course users across every other chain can actually utilize that. And then this allows for economic decentralization because the possibilities are endless. So now you're thinking about DeFi projects. So if you're building like a DeFi project, as long as most of the users that we know, they are already on some of these collectives of the superchain. So you don't have to worry about your users fetching assets from one chain to come to your platform to do stuff. You don't have to worry about, all of that stuff. So basically, your DeFi project is even more enhanced, right? Because mostly DeFi has to do with a lot of on-chain assets, and then moving these assets from one chain to another. Before now, it's expensive, and sometimes some bridges, you may actually lose your asset, right? You could send assets from an L1 to a particular L2, and then it doesn't get to the L2, right? And then you've lost the asset. So it has happened to some people over the years, but that was like maybe 2 years ago. I think from last year there've been a lot of improvement on the bridges, right? But then the superchain abstracts all of this, right? So it makes your application, whatsoever sector you are building, is it supply chain, is it medical, is it DeFi, like I said, it could be anything. So it's completely abstracts away all the nuances that came before now, allowing developers to build seamless applications for users, right? So now users have access to this communication layer, which of course this is like a stepping stone. I know personally that there are going to be like a lot of improvements to this stuff, and then in the next few years we should see like a very seamless blockchain interaction. I mean, there are so many ways to use the blockchain now. You could use your blockchain from a USSD. I've seen a project that people can actually move assets to a USSD. I've seen project that people can actually move assets with their email. So it kind of like creates that multi-party computation wallets where you kind of like split your private key into 3 so that it keeps it secured. So there are a lot of improvements that have been done over the years. And then the super chain is like, for me, it's like a tip of the iceberg, but already it's doing a lot. And then there's a lot that can be built on top of this. So I think I may take questions now. I think that's the end of my slide. I've pretty much been speaking. I hope you guys have been hearing me. So thank you very much for the time. I'll take questions if anybody has any questions. Okay, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so I think that's my slide. I'll take any questions from anyone. But generally, this is, like I said, is a tip of the iceberg. It's a great improvement technically on the technical side because the current state we have, although there are some people trying to do some interoperability stuff, but the superchain kind of like supersedes all of that because it allows for different blockchains to just plug in and then communicate with each other. So this allows for a lot, right? Yeah. So please, I'll take any questions if there are any available. Feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Okay, I have a question. My name is Lucky.
Okay, please go ahead, Lucky.
Okay. For every Lisk token holder, I meant to understand that they can stake or lock their token and have the right to get voting power and staking rewards, right?
Yes, they can do that.
Okay. My question is, I'm curious to know about how the voting power is being computed, because that of the staking reward, which is the weight equal to the reward locking in days plus 150 and stuff like that, yeah. And the daily reward is given by the weight divided by the total weight times the total daily rewards. So now I want to know how that of the voting power is being computed.
Okay, it's very straightforward. Like it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you stake 1 leaks, you have 1 voting power. If you stake 10,000 leaks, you have 10,000 voting power. So, but the day or the minute you want stake, just give me a minute. I'm trying to see if the portal will open. Let's take a look at it together. But it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you stake 10 leaks, you have 10 voting power. And then if you stake like 1,000 leaks, you have like 1,000 voting power. That's basically how it works. So yeah, I will share my screen. Let's take a look at the portal together. I just wanted to make sure it's open. So okay, let me share the window in case I have to like go to the DAO. Okay, so I'll show you a typical example. Please confirm if you do see my screen. Is my screen up?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Leaks portal. I see I've connected my wallet, but I use this wallet for facilitating classes. There are no live tokens because I have exposed the private key a lot of times, but that's by the way anyway. So I'm going to use the testnet to explain this, but it's the same thing with the mainnet. So if you come, I've connected my wallet. So if I come to this stake tokens, right? So right here, you have like say connect your wallet. Let's connect it again. Okay. So if you stake, in this case, I haven't really staked anything. So, but let's see, should I use the main one so that we actually see this? Okay. All right. 1 minute. I think we need to use, let me share my entire screen. Sorry. Let's look at a live one. The one I'm currently doing is, okay. So I'll switch to a different browser for that. Okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look. So it's the same thing. I still go back to the portal, connect my wallet, but this time this is actually on the mainnet. So we'll take a good look at it. Trying to connect the MetaMask. Okay. It's taking a while to load up here. Okay, I think we'll get to it now. Okay, so I think the wallet is connected. So what's happening? It's not connected. Connect wallet. Okay, so the wallet is connected. All right. So I have already staked. So let's see. I go back to the stake. Why is it showing connect wallet? Okay, so please confirm you can hear me. Sorry, the network has not been too friendly today.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so I'll just share my screen again. Let's take a look at that again. Okay, so I have to go to the browser. Where is it? This is it. Let's connect the wallet one time. Okay, so I've connected my wallet. I have zero balance, so I cannot stake. So normally what happens is if you come here and then you have some balance in your wallet, you can stake, put the amount, put the lock duration time. It's going to, normally there are incentives when you stake, right? So it's going to give you like some estimated stuff here. But then the good thing is that when you stake, you have this is my total stake. But if you go to like open my staking dashboard, so if you open your staking dashboard, you can see your voting power. So this is the amount of reward I have received for staking so far. I still have some that I've not claimed. So you can see my daily leaks reward for staking here. And this is the annual APR, annual profit, 17%, right? So you have a duration of stuff to stake for. So I can claim this, but let it be there. So this is what I was showing, that this is the overview. And then if you go to the governance, you see that you have exactly the same amount that you staked, right? So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So whatsoever you stake is the amount of voting power that you get. And then if I go to the Lisk DAO with my voting power right now, I have already delegated my voting power, but I don't want to show us how it works. So I don't remember who asked the question, but the ratio for staking is 1-to-1. So for every Lisk you stake, you get that particular amount of voting power. So I don't know why this is taking a while to load. I think I'll give it some time. All right, so the network is terrible. Sorry about that, guys. All right, but I think it's taking a while. But generally, if you come to the Lisk down here, okay, thank God it's opening. So now you see that this is the Lisk governance, the Lisk on-chain governance. You can check the proposals, you can check the community, you can see the treasury, like how much has been staked in the Lisk DAO. And then, of course, you can see they improved the proposals. So this is the proposal I was talking about, redistribution of unclaimed token holders, right? Okay, I think it has made the threshold because it has been executed, as you can see here. So now Lisk is not burning the 100 million Lisk anymore. It's going to be redistributed in the holders airdrop. I didn't check when this was executed on November 26th. And it had a total of 24 million people or votes that said yes and 0 that said no. So it was voted by 157 addresses, which all this information you can actually check on chain. So that's basically how it works. And then if you come here, you see the rising delegates, and then you see the total number of voting power that they have. Like for instance, Max is the founder of Lisk. All this voting power doesn't mean he has all these Liks. It means people delegated it to him. Like I am one of them. Like you see here, you see my total voting power. I delegated it to Max. So you can also delegate to anyone. But what this means is that if Max gets penalized for any improper conduct, it also affects me. I also lose some funds, right? If he gets incentivized for any decision, that means whatsoever incentives is given to him, I get a portion of it. I think this proposal was proposed by this guy, Zima. Let's check. I know it was proposed by him. So definitely everyone that had allocated voting power to him. Let's see. Okay, it was not by him. It was done by this other person, Gromley. He proposed this, and then you see 75 people voted for, and then these other people did not vote. Nobody voted against. And then you can see all the on-chain information that you need, the total people that voted for it, and then yeah. So as you can see, what this means is that the Lisk team did not vote for this proposal, even if they have so much voting power. Hence, let's see, if you come here to this abstain, right? So you see that the Leaks team itself abstained from voting. This decision was made by the community, right? Which is all this green and not the Leaks team. So you can also check that out. So basically that's how it works. The Leaks DAO, you're able to like also be part of decision making in the Leaks ecosystem. So I hope I answered your question. I don't know why that question.
Yes, sir. Okay, a quick one. A quick one, please. Yeah, is the voting power independent of the Leaks token? What happens if the token is being on stake?
Once you're on stake, you lose your voting power. So, and also whosoever you are delegated voting power to, once you're on stake, that person loses that number of voting power.
Okay.
I think Lucky, your hand was up. Please, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm the one talking, not wrong.
Okay, that's great. Any other questions so far? Okay, so I think if we don't have any other question, that's from me. Thank you for having me.
There's a question here.
Okay, please go ahead. What's the question?
Does Lisk only support Lisk bridging, or can I bridge other tokens on different networks?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can I come again?
So can I only bridge Lisk token, or can I bridge other tokens as well?
Okay, you can bridge other tokens. Lisk supports a lot of them. I'll need to share my screen again. That's fine. Let's take a look. So
Okay.
if you go to...
Sorry, while you're answering that, I just have another one. I think they're kind of intertwined. So in a case where, okay, here's the question. How long does it take for the bridging? Because in a case where the blockchain, the network is an optimistic rollup, and you know that the finality of an optimistic rollup is at least 5 days, to 7 days, correct? So how do you validate that bridge? Like, how long will you guys have to wait until finality is met, or do you guys just assume that finality will be met?
Okay, there are different bridges that Leaks offers. If you are using like the canonical bridge, which is the Leaks bridge or Gelato bridge, you may need to wait for 7 days for finality. So this is what I mean. If you come to the bridge, everything is in the portal, right? So you have the super bridge. The super bridge is the super chain bridge. Remember, all the L2s, all the collectives of the super chain, they share one bridge, they share one L1. So this super bridge behind the hood is what is going to facilitate seamless asset movement. These are all like instant. You don't have to wait for finality because the blockchain already are in the same state. That means whatsoever information or whatsoever asset is on Leaks, that information is made available to all the other collectives of the super chain. So finality, you don't need to wait. But if you are using this particular bridge, which is the Leaks bridge, this is what it looks like. It's a canonical bridge. You can use it to bridge it between L1, Ethereum, and Leaks. You can also use it to bridge your Leaks token because there's also a Leaks ERC20 on Ethereum, which is what Binance supports, right? So that's for Binance in Nigeria. I don't know about other countries, but in Nigeria, Binance currently supports Leaks on Ethereum. I think even the Leaks documentation states that Binance supports Leaks on Ethereum. So you can actually bridge that Leaks on Ethereum to Leaks on Leaks. But if you are using like this canonical bridge, let's see, this Leaks bridge, definitely you have to wait for 7 days because it has a 7 days finality. But we have other options. This is for testnet. Let me change it to mainnet. We also have the across bridge. Across bridge is instant. So this is the mainnet. So we have across. Across, you can bridge instantly in a matter of like, I think, is it 4 or 5 seconds. So you can use across for that. And then, but if you are using any of these two, the relay bridge or the Lisk bridge, these are canonical bridges. So you have to like wait for the 7-day finality, right? And then you can also use like oku.trade if you're not bridging and then you are swapping, right? If you go to oku.trade, let's see. If I go to oku.trade, I should be able to swap my Lisk token for either USDT, Ethereum, or USDC, right? And all of this is instant. It's like less than, I think, 3 seconds or 4 seconds or thereabout. You can actually get your tokens at that time, except you are using the canonical bridge, which even the Lisk team will advise you to use either across, or there's another one, Velodrum. You can also use Velodrum to bridge. I hope I answered that question. So I'm trying to look at the Oku.trade. For Oku.trade, you basically just swap. I think you can also bridge, but mostly you can swap for other tokens.
Okay, so for those bridges that don't require you to wait for finality, how do you tackle the security
of the bridges? Those bridges already have liquidity. They already have liquidity, right? And then, of course, this is the blockchain, meaning that you cannot cheat the system. So you cannot go and breach something that you do not have. So you must actually have data to be able to process it on chain. So if you do not have any token or you try to build a fake token, there will be no liquidity for it. And all these bridges, they have liquidity, right? So once you bridge, they should be able to use that liquidity to facilitate that transaction. But outside that, if you do not have it, because truly at the end of the day, these are all on the blockchain, means that whatsoever data you are putting out, it can be verified instantly, right? So once that verification is done, and then your token you are trying to swap does not have, maybe is not the right token, meaning that the contract address is different from the contract address on the bridge, you can't bridge it. So there are a lot of security checks to that. Yeah. So yeah, this is oku.trade. Here I've connected my wallet, so I can select that I want to swap my Lisk, and then you can see options here: USDT, Rapid. For people who are not familiar with Rapid, so if you need like Ethereum, right? So you can actually get Rapid, which, like I said before, all this bridging and stuff is kind of like expensive on the user side, because if I swap to Rapid, I still need the normal it. So I still need to like either bridge it or swap it for it again, right? So all of these processes are kind of redundant, which is what the Superchain bridge solves. So I don't need to swap from Lisk to USDT. I can easily implement whatsoever USDT functionality I'm trying to call from a decentralized application, and then it's going to calculate that value in Lisk for me. So I can pay in Lisk even if they need USDT, right? And I can also pay gas fee in Lisk even if I'm on another chain. So the Superchain comes with all these amazing features. So yeah. I hope I answered that question. Or you need more clarification?
Okay, so not very, very clear like that, but then I think I can maybe just my answer research to that. So
And if you need more clarification, maybe you can just point me in the direction. I'm more than happy to answer your question.
what?
You said it's not too clear, so I was asking, where do you need more clarity?
I think the documentation we'll do in this case, maybe we can refer me to a couple of things that I can just go through all these things and get myself and before. all the points that are clear on.
Yeah, all this information is available on the Lisk documentation, docs.lisk.com. Let's see, docs.lisk.com. We have a superset of deferrals that make sure that the document or the documentation are pretty much straight explained, made simple for everyone to understand. So you can find all the information there.
All right, cool. So the final question: does Lisk have a future plan of integrating other asset images like, let's say, NFT or any type of assets, digital asset of course?
Of course, for those who have participated or those who don't know, Lisk has a current airdrop season ongoing. And if you check, one of the tags there is that if you are an NFT holder, in this case, the Lisk of Life NFT, that was the Lisk of Life NFT is the first NFT on the Lisk L2. It's on Rarible, so you can actually find the Lisk of Life NFT on Rarible. So yes, you can have other assets on Lisk, not just tokens.
Okay then. Okay.
Okay, great. So are there other questions? Do anyone need clarification on any other thing? Okay, so thank you guys for having me. Because I hope you enjoyed this session.
Yeah. That's a cool one.
Thank you very much, guys. I hope I can take my leave now because I have to jump into another call in 15 minutes or now 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for having you.